Every time our athletes walk into this weight room, they're going to be pushed to the max.
Let's go! Let's go!
The barbell hasn't changed in over 100 years. I can take a 25-pound plate, and we'll go out on the turf, and I'll have you hating life. We talk about straining your gut, pushing past that comfort level. I want a lot of energy. What better breeding ground is there for being a success in life than the weight room?
Hey guys, welcome back to Ask Coach Mac. This is episode number 62, and I'm on location again. I'm up and back actually in Toronto, Canada. I'm outside of the CN Tower and the Rogers Center here, and I just got done speaking at Dan Noble's clinic at the Hill Academy. Matt Jordan, Derek Hansen, Brett Bartholomew, myself, and Dan Noble. Just got done putting on that clinic. Just a fantastic group of speakers, and can't say enough about Dan and the job he's doing there at the Hill Academy, and just a great guy, gracious guy. We connect on so many different levels, and just super proud to be a part of the event, but wanted to, as always, whenever I go on these locations, I wanted to make sure I share it with everybody, because it's what a blessing I get to go and see amazing parts of the world, and just really honored to work for Play, a company that allows me to do that, and then have great relationships, not just in the U.S. but around the world. I want to pan around though. I want you guys to see a little bit of this. So this is the CN Tower. This is I think the third largest tower in the world, and so I've gone up in this thing twice. We went up in it when we played up here at a bowl game back in 2000, and I can't even remember when. And this is the Rogers Center back here. I don't know if I can pan around. See if I can pan around. This is where the Blue Jays play. It's where we actually had our Play Summit not too long ago. And so just again, another incredible place. And as always, I want to try to share those things with you. I want to knock out a couple quick questions. It's game day here, so I look like an idiot, doing a little selfie type video here, but like I said, I wanted to knock out a few things while we're here. So first question was from Matt. Matt asked, you just started an internship at a major Division I program with football team within the strength and conditioning staff, and like to have some advice for him as to what he should be doing as an intern. And Matt, I think the first thing is maximize every single minute that you're there. Be the first one in, be the last one to leave. That work ethic and that hunger, that's everything, and that's going to stand out more than anything, especially at this point in your career. I think you don't want to form any opinions at this time. It's easy as if you've got a little bit of experience to come in with an idea of what you think is right and wrong. I mean, you need to come in with a fresh mind. Just absorb every piece of information you possibly can. I'd keep a journal, every document, every piece of paper that you get, handout, all those types of things. Keep that in a journal and chronicle that experience. Every internship I had, I chronicled it, and even just this weekend, coming up here to speak at this clinic, I pulled out my Tampa Bay Buccaneers internship journal from way back when, and I went through it and pulled out a couple things for my presentation. So chronicle everything, do site visits. I think you need to draw like a 50-mile radius from there, and every time you get a moment that you can get out of there early, or you got a day off for some reason, which doesn't typically happen, but if you do, go and drive an hour. 50 miles is about an hour. Drive an hour and use and leverage that relationship to get in some other places to do site visits and see how other people train, and ask questions about what they're doing during that period of time that might be different than what you're doing. And then the last thing I'd say is leave your mark somehow, some way. We had an intern at Eastern Michigan, and he came in and I think maybe they did it at the school before, but it was just an ingenious type of way to do some vibration technology instead of having a expensive device. We bought car buffers for about $19, and was able to do some some self-myofascial release and some just some recovery techniques with it that typically would have cost quite a bit of money. So that's something that I remember about him. And I've had so many interns in my career that, you want things that stand out when it comes time for reference time. All right, Joey asks, in your opinion, what's the best way to stand out in this industry that is becoming social media driven? Joey, I think there's a lot of misguided information out there on the internet. There's a lot of self-help gurus, fitness gurus out there. And the reality is this: I think, people will look at that and say, I don't want to be in that space. I don't want to be perceived that way. I don't want to be self-promoting, those types of things. And it's my opinion that you need to go ahead and, with the qualified ones, the ones that are doing the work or in the trenches, they do need to be putting out content information, because if people don't consume it, the right stuff, they don't know how to decipher the wrong from the bad. Excuse me, bless me. And so I think you need to have, I think more coaches need to putting stuff out there. I think the important part in that, though, is find your niche. Find something that you can be an expert on, or, like if you're an intern, like we were talking about, journal your experience, and maybe somebody else that's not as fortunate to get that opportunity can learn from your experience. So I think putting yourself out there in that way, I don't think that's a bad thing. Just don't do it in a douchebag way. Blair asks, basically he's from New Zealand, interested in pursuing opportunities in the U.S., and recommends to ask, basically for recommendations of what he can do. And I've answered this question a couple times, I think, but you've got to network. If you're from overseas and you're listening to this, there's such a surplus of coaches over here that you have to network. You have to create relationships, because it's such a relationship-driven business, and there's such a surplus of coaches that are available, that overcoming a lot of the things that you have to overcome, work visas and all that type of stuff, sometimes it's not worth the hassle. So you got to build that relationship where people are willing to go past that. I think the best way to do that is do what I call mini internships, where you come over for maybe 2 weeks and spend a couple days at multiple schools. Let them see your work ethic. Let them see how passionate you are. Develop a relationship and continue that relationship when you go back home. And when you do that, then people might, when it comes down to hiring people, they may be willing to overcome some of that stuff to get you on board. I think another thing is, you're coming from New Zealand and Australia and some of these other countries, UK. Embrace the things that are really standing out right now. I mean, sports science is really standing out in the U.S. And we're hiring, a lot of programs are hiring coaches from, some of these countries that stress the sports science more, and so embrace that. Make sure, I'd partner up with a tech company, maybe see if they can, send you over to do some in-service type stuff. Really learn that technology and that equipment, and people are looking for ways to, to hire those types of individuals to run analytics and things like that. And that gets you in the door. And once you're in the door, it's just proving that you're a great coach and continuing to develop yourself that way. So, Blair, I hope that helps. Perry asked, and CEO Strength Coach, the book that I wrote, you mentioned an alternative route to GA experience. Basically, would I still recommend that? Is it as an effective way? And basically what he's referring to is in the book, I talk about being a GA is oftentimes, you're going into poverty to chase a grad degree. Most grad degrees, make about $15,000 a year. That might be with a tuition waiver. It might be that tuition comes out of that. And oftentimes you're going, to a place that's far away or not. And I think if you can get a GA, it's more official, it's more accepted, it's more traditional, and there's definitely positives to that. At the same time, sometimes I think it's best just to, most GAs are going to work 60 plus hours a week. Sometimes I think it's best that you just approach a coach that you want to learn from, say it's me at Tennessee or Mickey Marotti at Ohio State or whatever. And some programs can't do it, because they've already got their 5 strength coaches, but at the same time, doing an internship somewhere where they have multiple jobs that could come available, go in, get your grad, get accepted to grad school, get going, work at McDonald's 20 hours a week. Even if you work at McDonald's 20 hours a week, you can make more money than $15,000 a year. And then the other 20, the other 40 hours a week, volunteer, and if you have a conversation with the strength coach, and just say, hey, look, I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to do it my whole grad degree. I'm going to give you 40 hours a week. I don't think there's too many coaches, especially at programs that need additional coaches, that are going to turn that down. And then, just basically say, hey, look, when it's all said and done, I'm getting my graduate degree. I'm getting it at your school. I'm helping you out in the weight room for maybe 2-3 years. If people call you, just just say that, would you mind saying that I'm a graduate, student assistant, or maybe or even a graduate assistant, because when coaches call, when I'm researching candidates, what I don't do is I don't call the school and say, what was their official capacity for you? I call the strength coach and say, hey, what did he do for you? And most of those coaches will say that, yeah, he was a grad assistant. He was going to graduate school. He maybe worked his way up to handling a couple teams for us, and those types of things. That's really the big determining factor, is whether or not you're going to be able to help to work with teams and program for teams. And at smaller schools, you're going to have a little bit better opportunity to do that. The thing that I would challenge you on is just making sure that you find a place that has room for advancement. If they have just a head strength coach and that's it, well, there's nowhere to go but the head strength coach position. But if you're at a place like Tennessee, where I had 19 different positions, well, if a GA left and you're already in my program and you're already busting your butt and you're already in grad school, then I'm just going to move you up to a GA, and I'm going to find some another intern, or maybe that might be even an assistant position. If I know, like, and trust you, you might just jump right into an assistant position. So I think it's a good route, but at the same time, it's a sacrifice, because you're going to be working multiple jobs, and maybe a job that you don't necessarily like. Like a McDonald's or a Home Depot or something like that. But if it's allowing you to do what you love and putting you down the right path, a lot of people, they paralyze themselves, and because they don't have a GA, they just kind of do whatever. Go ahead and get going. Start taking grad classes online, and that way, maybe if you get a GA somewhere, you can jump and go for the GA. But start the process. I think taking action. We talked about that a little bit this weekend at the conference. Taking action is what separates a lot of the great from the good. And so, guys, this is I don't know, again, 4 or 5 questions each week, but I want to keep doing this. I want to thank our sponsors for helping bring this to you every week for free. Make sure to check those guys out. They're all linked up on the website, and just appreciate you guys coming on the journey with me. Enjoy getting to see places like this again. The CN Tower, 3rd largest tower in the world. I think it's like maybe the 9th largest structure, something like that. I can't remember, but just an incredible opportunity to do the things that I do, and hope that you enjoy it, and keep sending your questions in. McKeefery.com. You can send them there. You can tweet them to me, or Instagram them to me. At McKeefery on Instagram. It's where I'm trying to kind of direct everybody at this point. So just appreciate you guys watching, and I'll be back in another episode. Take care.